but there's a lot of people who are looking to change their occupation. I think, but I could be wrong. John, my guess is that people being $7, $8 an hour plus tips, that's, I think, John, you're going to be finding $15 an hour or more now. But you may pay that already. You may pay that already.
You mentioned something. You said we're going to end the things that may be keeping people back. You think that's the unemployment benefits?
Well, that
expanded?
was argued it was. I don't think it did much. But the point is, it's argued that because the extended unemployment benefits kept people, they'd rather stay home and not work than go to work.
You don't think it did that?
I see no evidence it had any serious impact on it. But you can argue. Let's assume it did. It's coming to an end. So it's not like we're in a situation where if that was it and it ends, then we're going to see John's going to have no problem. And the state legislature votes, we're going to send electors up to Congress to vote for Trump, not Biden. That's never, ever, 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 ever been tried before. Mm-hmm. This is Jim Crow on steroids, what we're talking about. And so it takes, go to your second point. I've been saying for a long, long time, the abuse of the filibuster is pretty overwhelming. When I got to the United States Senate at a time when we had guys like Jim Eastland and Strom Thurmond and Robert F. Byrd and a whole range of people who were very, 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 very conservative on race, to say the least. Even then, if you were to filibuster, you had to stand on the floor and hold the floor. Or wouldn't they love doing it instead of being in a position where we provide for, how many of you have children under the age of 17? Raise your hand. Guess what? You're getting a lot of money in a monthly check now, aren't you? No, you deserve, no, I really mean it. Republicans used to fight for it as well. It's called the child tax credit. It's cutting child poverty in half. In half.
Mr. President.
Actually, crime is down. Gun violence and murder rates are up. Guns. All the criticism about the original crime bill, guess what? Yeah. Crime went down until we stopped doing community policing. So it's about getting, we have availability now of over lots of money for cops to be able to hire psychologists, psychiatrists, as well as social workers to be engaged in the process. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah. Everybody talks about how, this virus came, the drugs that are designed to kill the virus came along so quickly. Been working on it for 2 decades. There's nothing quick about this. It's been over 2 decades. So people say, I'm not taking a drug that was so approved so quickly. It's been 2 decades. The truth is, we haven't said it enough to people to allay their fears. There's nothing, their fears. It's nothing that just happened yesterday and they said, well, let's take a shot on this. And there's a process. Usually the process takes the better part of a year or more.
And there's also mistrust in the system. How do you fix that?
Well, I think it's going to seem like a non-answer to start with. One of the things I said when I ran for office, it's not Democrat, Republican again, is we've got to restore faith in government. You got to get people to the point where they trust government. And I made a commitment that when I made a mistake, I'd tell you. And I've made mistakes. And when I think I got it right, I'll say it. But I'll take responsibility for what I do and say. Part of it is just generally, no, I don't mean that. Part of it is generally raising confidence in elected officials. Raising confidence. And I know this is going to sound like a non-answer to you, but part of this is that, you know because you're one of the most informed journalists in the country. You know the criticism I got by saying I want to unite the country. You say, you can't unite the country. Well, if we can't unite the country, we can never get some of these problems solved. And that goes to trust. Why can't you unite the country? Why isn't there a willingness to trust? Government trust is really was at an incredibly low ebb. It's coming up some. So with regard to your family in particular, part of it is not just that they see you on television and trust you. The people who seem to have the most impact are that for that 17-year-old kid, the kid he or she plays ball with, or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're. No, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or whether those aliens are here or not. Who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it? They go to people they respect. And they say, what do you think? And so they should be asking other people, the people, for everything from their teachers to their ministers to their priests to people that they trust. And you got a great dog there, kid.
By the way, that is Danielle Lippy. She's a student here at the university, and she's a Republican. She's got a question for you. Go ahead, Danielle.
Okay. But your dog's a Democrat, I can tell. I'm teasing. I'm a big dog person. I'm sorry.
Her name's Wonder.
Companies should have to compete for workers. Guess what? Maybe we'll pay more money.
So you seem pretty confident that inflation is temporary, but if you're pumping all of this money into the economy, couldn't that add to?
No, look, here's the deal. Moody's today, when a Wall Street firm, not some liberal think tank, said if we pass the other two things I'm trying to get done, we will in fact reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Because they're going to be providing good opportunities and jobs for people who in fact are going to be reinvesting that money back in all the things we're talking about. Driving down prices, not raising prices. And so it is, I sincerely mean this. Prices are up now, and they're up, for example, you're in a position where you're trying to build a house, try to find 2x4s and lumber. Well, guess what? People stopped working cutting lumber. They stopped doing it because the unemployment was so down. Now, all of a sudden, there's this need because people are coming back. And guess what? Instead of paying 10 cents, you're paying 20. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It relates to what, in fact, is now needed because we're growing.